Are you ready to find out how to scale your business by getting out of the way? In this video, I'm going to dive through my own journey a little bit of how I've been able to scale and grow my business to XU and how you can do it as well by almost not technically working there. So one of my favorite books ever when I was still learning how to be an entrepreneur was the book E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber. And it's one of my favorite books for a reason because it taught me the mindset of if I want to actually grow a business, I need to work on it and not in it. And what that actually means now that I have actually been following and doing it myself is that I am able to work on growing my business, but not in it. I'm not in the day-to-day. I'm not in the making sure things are running. I am the, hey, let's chart a course to be able to go to this waypoint, or like, hey, let's start this. So I'm working on growing the business, not in it. So this video is kind of diving through a little bit of that and will also be based off of my newly published book, the Scale You book. You guys can grab it in the link below. But basically, I literally just launched this a few days ago. So if you want to grab that and support someone this is their very first time publishing and writing a non-fiction book, because I have written fiction books, please go ahead and check the description below. Now, the first thing that you want to do is you want to stick to what you do best. And that's what kind of I did, is I know and I've developed this skill in the last couple of years. My main skills are this, of like talking to you, creating this content, and doing calls with potential clients. So the reason why this is what I do best is, one, the reason why I wanted to start my business in the first place is I've always been curious about how other people's businesses work. So for me, in my head, I am able to connect the dots of how their business works and how they need an executive assistant doing that work. So for me, that's kind of my forte. And I haven't really felt the need yet of delegating or giving to someone else our discovery calls, basically, just because I have so much fun doing it and I know that I do it best. And of course, when it comes to the content, I have no plans of replacing myself with AI. I plan to do this basically as long as I can. And that's kind of my two things are content and clients. So those are the two main focus for me, and the rest I'm going to be delegating. So then that step two is delegating the rest of the things that you are not good at, because as an entrepreneur, when we're starting out, we have to wear multiple hats. What that means is at the beginning of my business, I was the HR, I was recruiter, I was in marketing, I was, of course, doing the sales and the content, I was taking care of our clients, I was taking care of our EAs. I did all of it. Basically, again, multiple hats on. But for me to be able to actually grow my business, I had to get out of my own way. So then I started delegating that. I have a marketing team. I have someone who takes amazing care of our executive assistants. I have someone who takes care of our clients. So each step, basically, each hat that I had to put on as a business owner, I started to pass on to someone else. Because if I was the one who kept doing them, I would just kind of keep hitting that ceiling within my business, and I would be again in my business and not on it. Next is to set your ideal days and weeks. And this is really important in the very beginning of this whole process, is you want to set out what does success for me look like. So it has to be your definition of what success looks like. So for example, for me, my ideal day is either, depending on how I'm feeling, I get a workout in the beginning of the day or a workout at the end of the day. And then in between, I'm able to have a little bit of kind of quiet time at the beginning of the day, sync with my EA, which is first thing 9 o'clock every single day, and then going ahead and working on my focus projects, and then it's meetings with a couple of people, probably a discovery calls during the day, and wrapping it up with either me working out or my end of day routine. So for me, that's my ideal day. Now there are times where it won't be followed, where there will be clients because of change of time zones or whatever, that it won't be followed. But for me, I know what that looks like, of where me basically will be when I reach different types or different stages of my business. Then the same thing with your ideal week is, when your ideal week is, you want to plot out how you want to focus on different things on different days. When like for example, for me, I know we have a ton of discovery calls with clients on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I block those out that only basically they can check in. Mondays are usually my check-in with my whole team. Fridays, we have a huddle basically at the end of it, so then we are kind of synced. And as well as Wednesdays is usually a little bit of my day off, because I know that I will hustle in between those 4 days. I will be working because I love what I do. This will also make it easier for your assistant as you hire them to know how to manage you and your days, because they have a really good picture of what your ideal day and what your ideal week would look like. Next is, as you've started identifying what are the things that you're really good at, and what are the things that you should definitely delegate, and you've identified how you want your days and your weeks to look like, then you want to go ahead and start hiring slowly. What I mean by this is a lot of the time when we're hiring, and I describe it like this to a lot of our clients, is you kind of fell off the tree. You're building your business, and you fell off the tree, you broke your arm. It's painful, it hurts, it sucks. But you don't know that there are other things that might be injured or might have gotten hurt, so they tend to hire and try to find a quick fix of like, I just need one person to just lodge them into this position basically. But then you're not hiring slowly enough to actually identify like, oh no, this is actually my forte. I don't want to delegate this. I don't want to give this to someone else. Or better yet, you just hire whoever applies to the job without filtering them, without making sure that they're a match, where in the long run, they might hurt your business rather than help your business. So that's what I mean by hiring slowly. And again, that whole process is walked through both on videos here on the YouTube channel and on my book as well. Next is to make sure that you set clear expectations as you do start hiring. So it's things like creating a clear list of, what is the role, these are your responsibilities, making a list of key performance indicators, basically what are the numbers that based on the role, this is what you should care about. It's also building things like creating your feedback systems, which is the next step of making sure that there's a way for both for you as the business owner and for your employees as you start hiring them to have a way to give you feedback and for you to be able to give them feedback as well. So it's making sure that there's quick turnaround points of like, hey, did a good job on this. This just sucked a little bit, of like, hey, let's not do this again. So you're able to quickly kind of have that rapport with your employees. You don't have to be stuck in your head kind of thinking, how can I have done this better? You're able to work with them on it. Now, speaking of feedback systems, the next thing is to create your systems. And usually this is a little bit better with a team where you are able to create your standard operating procedures, where you basically have a written down checklist of how you do things. So then you can easily repeat that over and over again. It doesn't have to be this like, hey, send this email out. They're like, hey, what are the templates? How do you do this? What's your signature? There's a clear process essentially of how you do, especially the more repetitive tasks within the business. So again, it doesn't have to get stuck in your head. You're not the only one who knows it, and it's easy for you to get out of the way. Next is letting go of perfectionism. And honestly, my book Scale You was almost named Outsourcing for Control Freaks. And the reason why it was kind of one of the funny titles I was playing around with is that when you're starting out a business, when you're trying to make sure that you're creating really good results for your clients, you kind of tend to be a little bit of trying to control everything. And I'm very, very much guilty of this. But when you have to let go of perfectionism, if your team can do it as 80% as well as you can, you're good, you're solid. That's all that you can really ask for, because your team doesn't have your knowledge, doesn't have your skill, doesn't have your background. If they did, they would have been working with you. They were starting their own business. So what I mean by letting go of perfectionism is just setting your own expectations to the point where it is acceptable, where you're not asking for perfection with your team. You're just making sure that they actually get the work done, and they, again, get it done at least 80% as well as you could. And of course, making sure that you monitor your KPIs, your numbers, making sure there's a way for you to have kind of a really good dashboard. This was something that I added later on within 2XU that I wish I started early on, was just tracking our numbers. And that was one of the things that has helped me kind of empower my team and of course myself to keep growing and to keep going. And lastly, celebrate your wins. And it's a really important thing, especially as you are motivating and empowering your team to do the things that you used to do, is to celebrate the wins as they come along. And that's why having also your dashboard, your key performance indicators kind of right out there, is you can track like, hey, we hit like 10 clients in 1 month. We were able to get 10 clients and the goal was only 5. Let's celebrate, let's do something. So it's making sure that you do celebrate milestones, that you have fun with it, because business doesn't have to be all the straightforward. It can be fun too. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there and comment below. Do you have any questions when it comes to scaling your business? I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those 2 playlists right here and the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.